Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children. We welcome to our online learning initiative Ekalaiva. Today we are going to start our new lesson in economics, globalization and trade. We are going to discuss lot of things about globalization and trade. The learning objectives of this lesson are: we are going to know the meaning and history of globalization, to know the trade and traders in South India, evolution of growth of MNC. MNC means multinational corporations. To know the fair trade practices and WTO, World Trade Organization. And we are also going to understand the impact and challenges of globalization. First, what is meant by globalization? So, you would have heard about LPG. LPG is nothing but liberalization, privatization and globalization. This LPG have become a much talked of subject among politicians, various economists and businessmen in modern days. So these three expressions are the supporting pillars of the new economic policy of our government implemented since 1991. Among this, in this lesson we are going to discuss about globalization. Globalization is the process of integrating various economies of the world without creating any barriers, any disturbances in the free flow of goods and services, technology, capital, and even labor. Labor are also called as human capital. So, under globalization, the international market for goods and services are integrated. So the definition for this globalization, it is the integration of a country with the world economy. Basically, globalization signifies a process of internationalization plus liberalization. Now we are going to discuss about the history of globalization. If you take this term globalization, it was introduced by Theodore Levitt, and this historical background of this globalization can be discussed in three stages. One is archaic globalization. The second stage is proto-globalization. And third stage is modern globalization. First, we are going to discuss about archaic globalization. Andre Frank, he argued that a form of globalization has been in existence since the rise of trade links between Sumerians and Indus Valley civilization in 3rd millennium BC. An early form of globalized economics and culture is called archaic globalization, and it existed during Hellenistic age also. So about these Indus, Sumerians and Hellenistic we discussed a separate chapter in history, isn't it? So an early form of globalization in the trade link between the Roman empires, Parthian empires and the Han dynasty made the commercial links between these parts, and these inspired the development of the Silk Road. And if you take the Islamic Golden Age, it was also an important early stage of globalization. The advent of the Mongol Empire facilitated the travel along the Silk Road, and these pre-modern phase of global exchange are known as archaic globalization. And there were two major empires during that period, the Roman and the Chinese empires, that were specifically influenced in this type of trade. Next one, proto-globalization. The next phase is known as proto-globalization. Actually, this phase that it was characterized by the rise of maritime European empires in the 16th and 17th centuries. First, the Portuguese and Spanish empires, the Dutch and the British empires. So in 16th century, Portuguese they started establishing trading posts. Trading posts is also known as factories from Africa to Asia and also Brazil. So the phase of increasing trade links and cultural exchange that characterized the period immediately preceding the advent of so-called modern globalization in the 19th century. So if we move to modern globalization, the 19th century it witnessed the advent of globalization approaching its modern form. So between the globalization in the 19th and the 20th century, there are significant differences. There are two main points. One is the global trade in the centuries as well as the capital, investment and the economy. And another one is the global trade in the 20th century. It shows a higher share of trade in merchant production, a growth of trade in services and the rise of production and also trade by multinational firms. So it comes in post World War II era and today it is seen as a way of working with financial issues. And its work was set at the Bretton Woods Conference in 1944 and it paves the way for many leading institutions like World Bank, IMF that is International Monetary Fund, GATT that is General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, World Trade Organization that is WTO. So we discussed about three stages of globalization that is archaic, proto and modern globalization. Various European companies they came to India for trading activities and we are going to discuss about these companies in detail. Here you can see the different companies that came to India like English East India Company, Dutch East India Company, Portuguese East India Company and French East India Company. First we are going to discuss about the Portuguese. The Portuguese under the leadership of Vasco da Gama landed at a place called Calicut on the 17th May 1498. Profits of goods brought by Vasco da Gama to Portugal were to 60 times cost of the entire expedition to India. The second trip of Vasco da Gama in 1502 led to the establishment of trading stations at various places like Calicut, Cochin and Kannur. Cochin was the early capital of the Portuguese in India. Now next one, the Dutch East India Company. Dutch undertook several voyages from the year 1596 and formed the Dutch East India Company which was called VOC in 1602. And in 1605, Admiral van der Hagen he established Dutch factory at various places like Masulipatnam and Pettapolli and Devanampatnam. So in 1610, negotiating with the king of Chandragiri, he founded a factory at Pulicat. Other commodities exported by the Dutch were indigo, Bengal raw silk, etc. and Pulicat was the headquarters of the Dutch in India. Next, if we move to British East India Company, on 1st December 1600, Queen Elizabeth granted charter to East India Company. So, on the southeastern coast, the English established at Masulipatam in 1611 and near Pulicat in 1926. The Sultan of Golconda, he granted the English the Golden Fireman in 1632, through which they were allowed to trade freely in their kingdom ports. So in 1639, he built a fortified factory in Madras, which was known as Fort St. George, which soon displaced Masulipatam as headquarters of the English settlement on the Coromandel coast. Next, if we move to Danish, the Danes they formed an East India Company and arrive in India in the year 1616. The Danish settlement were established at Tranquebar in Tamil Nadu in 1620, which was the headquarters of Danes in India. They failed to strengthen themselves in India, and in 1845 they were forced to sell all their Indian settlements to the Britishers. Next one, the French East India Company. The French first factory in India was established in the year 1668 with the help of Sultan of Golconda, and in 1693 the Dutch captured Pondicherry but was handed back to the French. In 1701 Pondicherry was the headquarters of the French. Okay children, today we discussed about globalization, various stages of globalization, and about some European companies who entered our country for various trading activities. Tomorrow we will be discussing about the globalization and India. Thank you children.